Manchester City APT settlement explained amid 115 charges. Premier League agreement, verdict timeline. Manchester City and the Premier League have settled their dispute over the rules governing associated party transactions, APTS, as both sides released statements. Manchester City have reached a settlement with the Premier League in their dispute over the rules governing associated party transactions, APTS. The legal action is separate from the 115 charges over alleged FFP breaches between 2009 and 2018, which City vehemently denies. City wanted to sign sponsorship deals with Etihad Airways and First Abu Dhabi Bank in 2023. However, when they submitted them to the Premier League, they were blocked for not being fair market value under the APT rules. That is when City challenged the legality of those rules, winning the initial case in 2024 and forcing some of them to be changed. A ruling in February 2025 concluded that all the previous rules must be void. The change in the rules means those deals City agreed to 2 years ago could now go through. Now, a conclusion has been reached over their dispute with English football's top flight over APT rules. Below is a look at the case and what it could mean for City and the Premier League. The APT rules regulate commercial deals between clubs and bodies linked to their owners. These rules were tightened in early 2024 after being introduced in 2021. City initiated arbitration proceedings on January 20th against the existing APT rules. The case was scheduled for trial in October, but due to a settlement agreement, this will no longer be required. In a statement, Man City said, "The Premier League and Manchester City FC have reached a settlement in relation to the arbitration commenced by the club earlier this year concerning the Premier League's associated party transaction APT rules, and as a result, the parties have agreed to terminate the proceedings. This settlement brings an end to the dispute between the parties regarding the APT rules. As part of the settlement, Manchester City accepts that the current APT rules are valid and binding. It has been agreed that neither the Premier League nor the club will be making any further comment about the matter." The Premier League said the Premier League and Manchester City FC have reached a settlement in relation to the arbitration commenced by the club earlier this year concerning the Premier League's associated party transaction APT rules, and as a result, the parties have agreed to terminate the proceedings. This settlement brings an end to the dispute between the parties regarding the APT rules. As part of the settlement, Manchester City accepts that the current APT rules are valid and binding. It has been agreed that neither the Premier League nor the club will be making any further comment about the matter. City and the Premier League are still waiting for the outcome of an independent commission hearing regarding more than 100 charges against the club for alleged breaches of the league's financial rules, charges City strenuously deny. The case, which was heard in private at the International Dispute Resolution Centre in London, concluded at the end of 2024. A 3-man panel have been reviewing the evidence, and they are expected to announce a final verdict soon. It is said that if Man City are found guilty, they could be hit with a serious financial penalty, or even potentially a hefty point deduction. 3 troublesome problems have emerged for Man City. Solving them will save season Manchester City face a defining week in their season as they prepare for matches against Manchester United, Napoli and Arsenal. Manchester City have plenty of unanswered questions ahead of the Etihad derby this weekend. Pep Guardiola's side started the campaign in style with a 4-0 thrashing of Wolves on the opening day, but back-to-back defeats by Tottenham and Brighton have left the Blues in the bottom half of the early Premier League table. With Manchester United visiting the Etihad on Sunday and Napoli in town for the Champions League on Thursday, City will be keen to pick up results ahead of a crunch clash in the capital against Arsenal on Sunday week. It's a mammoth week so early in the season, and if City are to convince as challengers at home and abroad, they must solve their early season issues. Here's 3 big problems that need solutions. Whether the new arrival is thrown in from the start against United or waits for his debut, it seems only a matter of time before the Italian is installed as first choice. That in itself brings clear consequences for James Trafford, who now faces a very different picture to the mapped-out journey to being City number 1, which looked clear-cut on his arrival. Donnarumma's arrival will also alter the style of play and the defensive relationships at City. He is a different type of keeper to Ederson, and indeed Trafford, and will need time to establish partnerships with the backline and develop a clear understanding. The quicker that can happen, the better. What is City's first choice defence? Aside from Ray and Aït-Nouri at left-back, it's difficult to nail down the other three spots. Josko Gvardiol and Ruben Dias feel like the long-term partnership in the middle, but a fully fit John Stones is arguably City's best defender. Stones could be utilised on the right with Rico Lewis and Matheus Nunes unconvincing in that role, while Abdulkadir Kusanov's pace could elevate him into regular contention given City's high line and relative lack of speed elsewhere in the backline. Fitness, form and fixtures will clearly play a part in Guardiola's thinking. But, particularly with a new goalkeeper between the posts and last season's frailties at the back still evident, it feels like City must try and bring some consistency to their defensive selection. Here's a clear and concise summary of the situation between Manchester City and the Premier League regarding the Associated Party Transaction, APT rules. Based on the statement and background, Manchester City released statement, as Blues settle APT case with Premier League, Manchester City have agreed a settlement with the Premier League over Associated Party Transaction rules. Manchester City have reached a settlement agreement with the Premier League over a case the club brought concerning the league's Associated Party Transaction APT rules. A statement released by City on Monday afternoon said that both parties had agreed to terminate the proceedings and that, as a result of the settlement, City accept the current APT rules are valid and binding. The club's statement said, the Premier League and Manchester City FC have reached a settlement in relation to the arbitration commenced by the club earlier this year concerning the Premier League's Associated Party Transaction APT rules, and as a result, the parties have agreed to terminate the proceedings. This settlement brings an end to the dispute between the parties regarding the APT rules. As part of the settlement, Manchester City accepts that the current APT rules are valid, and binding it has been agreed that neither the Premier League nor the club will be making any further comment about the matter. City initially challenged the league over the rules in January 2024, with a tribunal ruling in October of that year that three aspects of the rules